Do you know who this is? This is Benito Mussolini. He is a patriotic Italian and an enthusiastic socialist. He is anti-war, and when Italy colonized Libya in 1910, he rioted and was arrested. After leaving jail, he is accepted into a party of Italian socialists. Then World War I happened. At first, Mussolini is anti-war. Then he remembers, wait, I'm a socialist, and this war is the perfect environment to spark an overthrow of European monarchies. So he changes to being pro-war. His new opinion on the war gets him kicked out of his socialist party. He eventually decides, I'm done with socialism. We need something new, not based on social classes destroying our economy, but on unity through Italian nationality. We'll call it fascism, and it will restore prosperity, will brutally suppress opposition, and nothing shall stand in our way. So I've already talked about Mussolini, and it's time to meet our newest player, Adolf Hitler. He's a patriotic German and enthusiastic fascist. He joined the party of fascists called the German Workers' Party, and quickly rises to the top. He renames the party to the Nationalsozialistische Deutsch Arbeiterpartei. It took me 12 tries to say that right, and apparently it took Hitler 12 tries too, so he shortens it to Nazis. After rising to the top of the Nazi party, Hitler needed to bring it up to scratch. He did this by creating a military-esque squadron of political intimidators called the Storm Detachment, or just the SA. Take a look at Hitler's to-do list. Become an active politician. Check. Get a squadron of intimidators. Check. Be the dictator. Not check yet. Let's work on that. But first, in order to understand why Hitler wanted to be the dictator, we first have to talk about the Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles was the peace treaty that ended World War I. And of course, as I'm sure you know, Germany lost World War I because in this scenario, they were the bad guys, just like in World War II. And since they lost, the Treaty of Versailles didn't do Germany very well. And obviously, Hitler, being a patriotic German, didn't exactly love the Treaty of Versailles. For Germany, the Treaty of Versailles meant that they couldn't have a navy or an air force. They also had to reduce their army to just 100,000 men. They had to demilitarize the Rhineland, which was the area of Germany that bordered France, and on top of all that, they had to pay a stupid amount of money to the Allies. Now do you understand why Hitler was mad and wanted to become the dictator? He wanted to be the dictator so that he could undo the Treaty of Versailles. And now that he brought the Storm Detachment up to scratch, he was ready to take his first step towards that goal. This was about around the time when Mussolini decided that he needed to start making some steps towards becoming the dictator of Italy. And his strategy for doing this was to basically walk up to the King of Italy and said, "Make me Prime Minister, or I'll make me Prime Minister." Hitler wanted to do something similar, but he didn't want to be made the Prime Minister. He wanted to overthrow the government completely. So with the SA by his side, he stormed the government building, and then was charged with treason. Hitler could have gotten life in prison, but the right-wing judges sympathized with the Nazi ideology and decided to only give him 5 years jail time, for which he only served 9 months, and it was more like a hotel stay than an actual prison sentence. He had plenty of time to write a book, and the whole affair was covered by the media throughout Germany. A couple years passed by. The Nazis mostly just tried to gain support, doing stuff with the SA, intimidating political opponents and whatnot. In 1932, Hitler decided that he was going to run for president, but he lost to the extremely popular World War I general, President Hindenburg. Hitler decided that because he couldn't become the president, he would have to settle for the next best thing, and that was becoming the chancellor. He went to President Hindenburg and demanded that he make him the chancellor, but Hindenburg was reluctant, seeing of all Hitler's yelling and racism and how unpolitician-like he was.
Das war ein Befehl! Der Angriff Steiners war ein Befehl! Wer schickt, hat mich belogen, sogar die SS! Die gesamte Generalität ist nichts weiter als ein Haufen niederträchtiger, treuloser...
Eventually, a man named Franz von Papen, who Hitler had been negotiating with, went to Hindenburg and said, "How about we make Hitler the chancellor on the condition that I get to be vice-chancellor, and all the important government jobs go to us moderate conservatives. That way we can control Hitler politically like he's our angry little puppet." Hindenburg agreed, and in January of 1933, Hitler was made the Chancellor of Germany. A month later, in February of 1933, the German Parliament building caught on fire. Many historians suspect that it was Hitler who lit it on fire, but Hitler blamed the communists, who he hated very much. He went to President Hindenburg and asked if he could sign a document that let him imprison all communists and political opponents. Hindenburg unknowingly signed it. Hitler sent many of his political opponents and communists off to the first ever concentration camps in Germany. Soon after this, the elderly President Hindenburg died, leaving Hitler the perfect opportunity to take over Germany and become Europe's second fascist dictator.